In episode 6, Lucy and Maximus get introduced to Birdie, who's one of the council reps for Vault 4. They're more than happy to help these two. For Maximus, it's just about getting bandaged up and making sure he's okay to get back. And also, Birdie lets him know that they've sent reconnaissance missions out to go grab his armor, so he'll have that back in no time, although it is missing a power core, which causes the damn thing to actually run. What's really surprising to Lucy is the fact that Birdie says she was born on the surface. She was born in Shady Sands. And not only Birdie, but a lot of them are from Shady Sands. They found Vault 4, and Vault 4 welcomed them in. And while Lucy thinks that's awesome and she wants to stay and see their community, Maximus wants to get back to finding the head. And it's Lucy who says, just give it some time here. With nothing to do but sit in quarantine, Lucy decides to ask Maximus, do you want to have sex? And that's something that Maximus seems like he's never done before. He has no idea how it works. But Lucy's just so cavalier with it that it catches him off guard. While it is intriguing for Maximus, he does tell her that as a knight of the Brotherhood, he's not really supposed to. When they finally do get out of quarantine, Maximus tells Lucy, I think these people are trying to trap us here. But Lucy thinks that's nuts, and the fact that she's come from a vault, she just assumes that it is a safe place. They then get a chance to meet the overseer of Vault 4, who is a guy named Overseer Benjamin. And he seems normal enough except for the fact that he has one eye and it's in the center of his forehead. Doesn't really seem like anyone else is fazed by this as he goes over the rules, which basically is one rule, stay off level 12. And that causes Lucy to want to know what the hell is in level 12. Once Overseer Benjamin walks away, she starts looking around and she notices that a lot of the people in Vault 4 have certain body modifications. There's one particular guy, for example, who has a nose on his forehead, and it's just thought of as normal. Later on in the day, Lucy goes and has a conversation with Overseer Benjamin. She feels like she can relate to him because she was born in a vault. He's the overseer of a vault. Her dad was the overseer of a vault. Maybe she could get some information from him. And he does let her in on one thing. He's not a real big fan of bringing people in from the surface, but he's a 5th-generation vault dweller, and this is just the way of Vault 4. They welcome people in, so he's not going to stop. The conversation, though, is going pretty well until Lucy asks, hey, what's on level 12? And his entire mood changes. He kicks Lucy out. He doesn't answer that question at all. And while Lucy was having this conversation with Overseer Benjamin, Maximus was busy looking around the vault where he sees that his suit has been retrieved. Now it's just a matter of getting a power core. He asks one of the members of the vault, hey, how do you get your power? And the guy directs him to where the location is. And sure enough, there is a power core. It would fit his power armor. It would be perfect. But right as he's about to pull it out, he gets caught by Birdie. He's a little apprehensive at first, but Birdie slowly coerces him into taking a Pip-Boy and going to an apartment that would be his. And he does it because he's never had one of those before. And when he goes there, there's even a welcome package from Birdie. And he starts adjusting to life in the vault. And boy, is he really enjoying it. Suddenly, Maximus has totally forgotten about the power core. As for Lucy, when she did get kicked out of Overseer Benjamin's office, she continued to walk around the vault, just like Maximus, and she came across a classroom. And the classroom has a whole time frame on Shady Sands, how it was founded, what happened to it, the bombs dropping, all of it. But it also has a giant new California Republic flag, and that's something that Lucy's never seen before. While she's admiring the flag, she gets distracted because there's a group of people headed in one direction. When she asks what's going on, one of the doctors says, oh, it's a surface dweller tradition. It gets a little rambunctious, but yeah, go ahead, check it out. So Lucy does that. And at first, it seems normal enough. It's just a bunch of people kind of praying, but then they start taking their clothes off. It's not a great look. I'm not even going to put a screenshot of it just because I don't want to get demonetized and you don't want to see it. And all of this, meanwhile, is being led by Birdie, who has the group going through some kind of chanting and ceremony, and it all has to do with bringing back the people that were taken from them when Shady Sands fell. At one point, they start chanting to bring back Shady Sands, blood must spill. And then when Lucy looks over, they're literally drinking blood. But that's when Lucy also notices that they have a giant banner to Lee Moldover. After the ceremony, all Lucy wants to do is go find Maximus, but he was busy getting accustomed to a certain lifestyle that he loves now. Lifestyle of the vault. She suddenly wants to leave, and it's now Maximus who's the one who wants to stay. She knows that the only way to get through to Maximus is to prove that these people are hiding something from them, so she goes to level 12. That's the only place that's off limits. And when she gets up there, she sees that there was a bunch of experimentation going on with humans. But there's also human beings who look to be frozen. As she's looking around at all these bodies in these hyperbaric chambers, she's caught. She's not only caught, she's apprehended, and she screams at Birdie, "Your entire culture is insane." And Birdie just says, "Well, I'm sure if we went to your vault, we'd say the same thing about you guys." They take Lucy away, and Maximus is none the wiser. And then we get an update on the Ghoul. Not just an update, we get some backstory on him. The Ghoul was indeed the first spokesperson for Vault-Tec, and it was very successful. But this was at a time where the Red Scare was going on, and communism was apparently running wild in Hollywood. For a guy like Cooper Howard, who fought the Soviets in Alaska, he really has no time for the Reds. And he thinks what he's doing with Vault-Tec is good. After all, his wife works for them. She's one of the upper management. But the fact is, he's looked at as a spokesperson for the end of the world. So he's dealt with a lot of flack, and because of it, he's also lost some jobs. After one particular commercial, they have a rap party at Cooper's house, and he meets up with one of his buddies named Sebastian Leslie, who actually is the voice of all the Mr. Handys. And Sebastian makes him feel way better about all of this by saying, "Look, man, you got to make a living, and we're all spokesperson for some people." But then he also lets him know about one of their mutual friends who apparently has lost a ton of work because he's allegedly a communist. And that's something that Coop can't quite figure out how that's even possible. He fought alongside this guy in Alaska, and now this guy's a communist? It just doesn't really add up. He decides one night to meet with the guy to find out what the hell's going on. And the guy doesn't admit to being a communist, but what he does admit to is being against companies like Vault-Tec. He thinks that Coop is drinking the Kool-Aid, and he's not really aware of what truly is going on. The fact that it's in Vault-Tec's best interest to keep this war going. The fact that the end of the world is very profitable for them. And if they had the cure to stop it, they would keep it under wraps because that's not profitable for them or their shareholders. He thinks that Coop is just being brainwashed by his wife, and he's completely bought in that all Vault-Tec cares about is keeping people safe in vaults. At the end of this meeting, he gives Coop a card and says, "Why don't you come to one of our meetings and see what we're talking about?" So he thinks about what this guy says, and he decides to take him up on the offer and attend one of these meetings. And upon arrival, he gets introduced to the person who's running the meeting, and it's Lee Moldover. So Coop and Lee have some history, but present-day Coop, he's got a ton of vials, and he's still after the head. Unfortunately for him, he is caught in the super-duper mart by the government. Mint spelled M-I-N-T. These are wannabe sheriffs who are dumber than a bag of rocks, and they take him, quote, into custody, where Coop actually knows the guy running the government. It's a guy named Sorrel Booker. And Sorrel knows Coop very well. He tells both sheriffs, this guy was the best bounty hunter in the area. You have no idea who you captured. With these two being somewhat acquainted, the Ghoul asks Sorrel Booker, "Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about this Lee Moldover person." And Sorrel says, "Yeah, they call her the Flame Mother. But I'll tell you right now, she's dangerous." He then starts telling the Ghoul how he can't actually let him leave because of everything he allegedly did in the Super Duper Mart, but the Ghoul has other plans. He kills both the sheriffs, and then he goes over to the wanted poster and pulls Lee's photo off of it and says, "Why is she on your wall?" And Sorrel says, "That's Moldover. Why?" And this is the first time that the Ghoul is connecting the fact that he knows Lee Moldover. He knows her from a long time ago. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.